Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday? I think that's what day it is. It's sunny and like 70 degrees in Georgia, so I've just really been enjoying all the sunny days. Kate's gonna hop in here in just a second, and we're gonna chat as we do. You know, you love to see it. Okay, Kate. Here she is.
Hi,
Hi,
Ruby.
Ruby. Can you hear me?
Only I can hear me.
Wait, I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you now.
You couldn't hear me either?
That was a strange experience.
Weird, because like you're not in my headphones, and I was trying to use my headphones. Should we start all
Oh,
over? Do you think there was no sound?
I could hear you talking.
Oh, you could hear me.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
And then on, I could only hear me, like I was talking to me.
I see.
I think it would be
Welcome.
fine.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to my room again. I'm a
Hi.
little because I just got out of the shower, you know.
I'm at the studio, obviously. Just taught at noon.
What a delight.
What a delight. We talked about drishti, which is like the gaze, and had everyone put a star sticker on the wall as like their gaze, and we talked about like, yeah, like put your attention on what you want to have happen and be for it.
I love that. Be about it. Join
Uh,
the study.
narrow your focus and get really clear. Set your gaze, steady your breath, and then deal with all the other stuff.
I love that. What a tool for insourcing.
And it made me think about how the self-study program is in 1 week.
1 week. Oh my God, it's Wednesday today.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled. I'm totally thrilled about that.
I'm excited also because we're going to be together.
I know.
I'm coming to
I'm,
see you.
and I loved being in Athens for your teacher training over the summer and getting to do that together. And it feels like we haven't gotten to do all of our normal things together this year.
I
And
know.
I know. So I'm really looking forward to being with you. And then also just like diving in. Like, I'm ready to start this. I'm ready for everybody who signed up, and I'm ready for me.
Same. I'm so excited. Hey, Haley.
Hi, Haley.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we wanted to chat about today, since we are just like 1 week from the program starting, is yeah, like what does it mean to be ready for something?
Mm-hmm. Huh. Are you asking me that?
I'm asking you, what does
Wow.
it mean to be ready for something?
What does it mean to be ready? You know, back to your analogy that you keep using is like when you feel like you're up against sandpaper, when it's like this sandpaper feeling, and it's like, what else? Like, what's out? Like something's missing, maybe. And that is how I know when I'm ready,
Mm-hmm.
because like, something's missing, and I need to figure out what that is and how to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Megan. How do you know when you're ready?
How do I know when I'm ready? Okay, I know when I'm ready when something like pops up for me, kind of like it feels
Yeah.
like the universe is like putting it in my line of sight. I also know I'm ready when I have some resistance. Like it's not the same as like feeling like a no in my body, you know, of like, oh, this just like isn't it. It's that I know I'm ready when there's that twinge of like, what if this changes my whole life though? Or like, what if this really requires something different? You know, like those kinds of like what ifs, and it feels like a little resistance, like, ooh, am I ready? And it's like that's actually telling me that I am ready. Like if I'm at the point of thinking about something in a different way, I am ready for the guidance to get there.
Yes. I'm ready to make space for that thing to like come to my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. You know, and then also the other thing for me is like, and this came to me like last year. Oh my gosh. What's wild about starting on the 17th is that we will be 1 year into,
I know.
yeah, wow. Okay, so like I think on the 17th last year, what our whoop, that's a girl. What our Instagram post was for Get Fit 615 was do the next right thing. And like every part that you're talking about, like the fear, the unknown, like what's going to happen. And it's like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know that this is the next right thing. And I think I feel that way sometimes. Like, listen, I don't know how this is going to, all I know is that everything in my life is continuing to like point me to this thing. And it's either I don't do the intuitive thing that is coming from here. I do the outside thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, it comes from.
I think something that's so interesting with it being like, yeah, March 17th was like the first day that we had online classes, that you had online classes, that it was like everything's changed. And like it felt like I am not ready. Like no one was ready, right? Like we were not ready. Maybe you went to the grocery store. My boyfriend at the time drove me to the grocery store at 10 p.m. because he was like, we need to be ready. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm not ready. And though, like what we teach in our teacher trainings and just like what I've learned through self-inquiry and all of our relationship together and what the self-study program is like self-discovery allows me to be prepared to come from I'm ready now, no matter what the universe brings into my path, which keeps me from getting stuck in like, oh, this is happening to me. And instead being able to like buckle up and be like, this is what's happening. What's the next right thing? I can be ready for this because I have the tools in my tool belt.
Mm-hmm. I was talking to a friend about that this morning. She was, I mean, a little bit lamenting on like, wow, I've done a lot of like self work and like the stories that used to be my whole life are now no longer part of my life. And like, who am I now? What am I now? And I was just like, damn, I fucking resonate with that. I really resonate with that. And the who am I now is like resilient, smart, capable, trustworthy, reliable, consistent. Like now I get to be all of these other things because I'm intentionally cultivating those things. And it's like the past couple months have shown me like lean into that, Kate. Like that's your like life responsibility kind of to lean into like this innate Kateness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like getting to know ourselves is kind of like really getting to know yourself is like creating a new creek from the river. You know, it's like here's the river and it's like creating a new creek. And so it's like every day I got to be out there like putting rocks on the bank, like digging, shoveling, seeing what I find, what kind of treasures there, what kind of obstacles there, until one day after a lot of sustainable practice, the water just flows into the new creek bed. And like I think that's what you're speaking to, that you have experienced in the last few months, is like the water finally like flowing into the new creek bed in a new way. And it's like, oh wait, like this is who I am. This isn't who I'm like trying to be anymore, or what I'm trying to like work so hard at. Like the practice has become like who I am. And that's so beautiful.
I know.
Wow.
I was talking to my friend this morning and she was like, and she was saying exactly what you just said about like this, like it's two parts. And I know for me, and this is work that I've found through therapy, but there's fear of staying the same. And then there's also fear of like, what is the unknown? And it's like life happens like in the middle of those places. Like, I don't want to find out what the answers are to the fear of staying the same. I want to explore this life that is out there.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, so she's like feeling that like in between both the fear of staying the same and like the fear of expanding. And she was like, what is that? And I was like, well, once we can like move with once we can kind of like look at the fear on both sides and be like, let's go, we're going, we're all here together. We're just going to keep moving forward. That is like freedom.
Yeah. And so much of it comes down to basically every issue that's come up in my life in the last few weeks. I've been like, oh, like the answer is presence, honesty, and communication. Presence, honesty, and communication. And yeah, it's like that, all of that fear comes along, and it is paralyzing because we are so stuck in needing to get somewhere. And so even like maybe we sign up for like teacher training, or we sign up for like a 6-week course or something that we're like, I'm gonna get through to the other side and I'm gonna like do it and then I'll like be there. And I was talking with some friends this morning because one of my friends made like a new self-discovery and she was sharing it, and she was kind of like, when am I gonna like get to the bottom of all this? You know, like when is it done? And I was like, y'all, we are a third in.
Totally.
You know, like it's going to just keep unfolding. Like there's no point where we're just going to be like, this is who I am now for the rest of my life. It is a process of uncovering. And so like, instead of feeling like we need to like sign up for this thing at the perfect timing to just really like catapult into like the next phase, it's like, why can't we just create sustainable practices and community to always be in discovery of ourselves, so that it's just like a normal thing to show up and be like, I discovered this thing, and it doesn't have to be like I have to announce who I am now.
Yep. Yeah, like it and it's like, wow, it sounds like we've had some of the same conversations already today with different people. Like, yeah, what my friend was saying this morning was like when we, and I guess maybe I was sharing like, okay, especially for like me with the gym, a big part of like Get Fit 615 and what it was founded on, it so much of that was driven by my experience with my body. And like, it was so easy for me to like cultivate that, like really specifically, because I was so close to that story with my body. And now it's like, that really does feel like a past place. And so it's like, I find myself like not needing to talk about my body all the time. And that is a new experience. And there's been a part that's like, am I pretending it doesn't exist? Am I, like, am I being quiet about it? Am I hiding that part of like the process? And it's like, no, that's a story of my past. And it used to be a really healing thing to like tell that story for me. And I'm lucky that I've had like always a platform to tell that. And I've been very vocal about it. And now I'm like, who am I if I'm not talking about my body? And then I'm like, I'm all sorts of things. I'm Kate. Like, I can talk to you about anything. Like, I can tell you that story. Now it's not charged. I can tell you about this, like less charged. And now I find myself having a lot more access to presence because I'm not stuck in those stories anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In my class today, one thing that like came to me, we were in the balancing series and like looking at the drishti, and I was just like, like you can narrow your focus and see one spot and focus on that one spot and be like true to it without like, you can like and then things can like come up around you, or maybe you lose your balance, and you can still just stay focused on that one spot without losing your shit or like freaking out. Because, and like that is a practice of being able to like it's presence. It's just a practice of being able to be present without it having to be like all about like, oh, then I guess I'm not who I thought I was, or maybe I'm hiding things, or maybe this isn't like, I don't want to show that yet, or whatever. Oh, yeah.
Well, and what you're speaking to is exactly this idea of like what we're so excited about the self-study program is that it's like, it's not like tunnel vision. This is a whole 9-month long, like, yeah, like we're looking at this. This is how we're looking at this, but you can't look at this only. Like, we think that we can do like only then.
That we can fix ourselves, and then we can step back into the world.
Yes. Yes. And so like instead of the self-study program being like a it's like let's like look like softly look. Like with intention and with purpose, we softly look towards where we want to go. But we can't get there if we pretend like, I don't know, my dad used to always yell at me about defensive driving. That's what this is like. You have to be able to see the world around you in order to move forward. Dad.
Yeah. And I think, like in the world of self-development, especially, and even in the world of like fitness and yoga and like what we're like our work industry, it's like all about how can I better myself? And it's like, can we just like lose that kind of like language and this like point A to point B in a hurry mentality? And instead it's like, yeah, like probably on the other side of the 9 months, you're going to probably feel like a better version of yourself, but it's not because you've just drastically like fixed or even improved anything. It's just that you know yourself better.
And
and that feels good.
Yeah, totally. And with that too, Ruby, like something that both of us have really focused on in our business ownership is making sure that we are not. Okay, so I really want to make sure that I speak to like the nuance of this. The it's not that we're actively not doing business as usual, but we make it a point to lean into doing business as we believe business can be done in a way that is not always in line with the way that the patriarchal way of doing business goes. So what I mean by that is like, we think about in everybody's job, we have these projects and they're intense and we work really hard to get this one project done. And then we move on to the next project and we feel so good about that one project, but we don't value the person who is usually a female, who answers the phone every day, who is the office manager, who does the day-to-day shit to keep all of this afloat. And so like what sustainability brings is like access to rest and real relationship. Yeah. And so like, would we have more people in this program if we had been like, hey, we're doing a boot camp style 6-week self-study program? Yes, you bet your bottom dollar that we would have 100 people in this program ready to dive into themselves for 6 weeks, boot camp themselves to fixed, and then be done with it. And this, like, what the self-study program is the antithesis of the way that this has often, and not everybody does, like I'm not saying we're the only ones, that's absolutely not true. We learn a lot about this from other people. Like, hello, that's the deal. And part of what the self-study program is us introducing you to a lot of the teachers that we have had. And anyways, yeah, so
yeah, it makes me think of, so I wrote this note to myself probably in like September 2019, and somehow it has stayed around. It just like, I don't know, it was in my car, I guess. It literally just showed up in my car this week, and it says, it's just on like a post-it. It's in my car. It says, play the game, use the tools, do it your way.
Yeah, I love that.
And that's what it's like, the game exists as it exists. We have a different set of tools that we choose to use.
Mm-hmm.
And so like part of changing the narrative is doing it our own way, so that with hope and like deep desire that one day it all looks different. Mm-hmm. That the game is transformed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think both of us are just like, we seem to like really deeply believe in I guess to me, it's like telling the truth. To me, it's telling the truth. And to me, it is doing the things, it is doing the right thing, even when that is objectively the hardest thing. Or even when objectively, I also don't know the difference between subjective and objective. So what I mean by that, what I'm trying to say is, and I Google this all the time. Like I'm the same with, I don't know the difference between affect and effect, and I like don't get it, and I Google it on a regular basis. Anyway, so what I mean by objectively, and am I right? Other people objecting, like looking from,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, so like often people are like, Kate, but in business, this is how it's done. And I'm like, I get that. I actually own my own business and I don't do it like that. So we can either choose, this is how it's always been done and this is what we do and this is how we human, or we can go, somebody chose that. Who said that? Who chose that for all of us? I don't choose that for myself and I don't have to do it that way. And I know that that is a shock to lots of people. And like, let it be a shock.
Mm-hmm.
That's not for me to, that's theirs to have.
Yeah, and something that comes up for me with that is like, yeah, it may mean that we get less badges along the way because it takes a deeper, more consistent dive into something than just these like quick 6 weeks, I did this, whatever. And instead it's about like engaging in the journey with yourself, for yourself, because you value yourself. Oh, and there's just like, yeah, there's so much space in that consistency. And so much still just doesn't feel consistent in life and in the world. And it is just like, really, there's a lot still going on that we have no control over. And like the reality is, it is always has been and will always be that way. It just feels heightened right now. And so to choose something that offers a little bit of consistency to your life is so helpful in like having an anchor, like something to come back to every month, check in without any pressure. There is no pressure. There's no pressure. We like self-pressurize.
Well, and a question that both of us get all the time is like, what's the time commitment? As if you as a self-study participant is indebted to us or something, or that we're your mom or your
like school teacher.
Yeah, you know, like this program is for you. We are going to show up and we're going to do our part. We are committed to the time. This program is for you. There's no grade at the end. There's no winning or losing. There's no doing it right or doing it wrong. And what I think about that information is that that's even intimidating to be like, well, then what is going on here? And it's like, this is just an exploration.
Yeah, I know.
What will you find?
Yeah, and it's just like, if you're like listening to this now or whenever, it's like, I don't know, chances are you're ready for something, right?
Yeah.
And so like approaching, not just if you choose to join the self-study program, but like approaching life from like, I'm ready for what comes along because I'm doing the sustainable, long-term, unhurried version of living. I'm just like living and experiencing and choosing and being present and consistent in that like you're going to be ready for whatever comes.
Wow, you want to know what I haven't felt in a long time?
What?
Is like FOMO, or like I've been left out. And to me that speaks to like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. That just like really came up for me right now. I used to feel like, oh no, I have to do this and do this and do this and do this. And now I'm like, I don't have to do that. That's other people's expectations of me or not. That was my own perceived expectations from other people that then I put on myself. But now they're not my expectations. So now even if they are someone else's, I'm like,
yeah. That has come up for me this week about like obligations. I just realized I was like, oh, I don't feel obligated to any of the stuff I used to feel obligated to as a friend, as a business owner, as a community member. Like I trust myself to participate in a way that shows up for others and shows up for myself with what I have capacity for, and just like none of the bullshit. We're just like none of the bullshit.
And I trust the people in my life to, like, especially like in friendships, to like pave the road of friendships that's right for me as a person. Like less of like friends are supposed to, and more of like how are we in relationship? Why even are
which is why it's so important to do this work within the framework of a community, and also invite your friends along, because then, and that's how it felt having the conversation with a couple of my friends this morning, was like, wow, like we are really discovering ourselves individually together and getting to like share that and witness that and hold space for that. And there is no obligation. Like we could show up, I could show up any day and tell you anything that I'm like, I'm this way now, or like, this is what resonates for me now. And you're going to be like, okay, cool. I can't wait to like get to know more about that.
Yeah.
Instead of it having to feel like, oh no, am I going to get to keep my friend if I share this part of myself? It's just like, hey, I've been thinking like, maybe I feel this way. Maybe like this is coming up for me. And I know that you're along for the ride. And that's like why it's so important to do it with community. And it's like so important to know that like you can set a clear focus and be sustainable. And you are not and don't have to be alone in that. And the self-study program is like, yeah, you don't need to be. The self-study program is a group of people who you may or may not have a lot of things in common with, but one commonality you have is that you're all here and present in the same container and holding space so that you get to show up however you are. And so there's no pressure of like, oh, the time commitment, or like, oh, I don't feel like I can like show up my best today, or like, oh, I don't know if I can do the right things to get the most out of this. It's like, that is all bullshit noise. And like, all that's required is that you like presence, honesty, and communication. And you can do that. You can do that.
Totally. And the whole thing is virtual.
Yeah, and even part of that, you know, like maybe it's important to speak to this too. It's like, yeah, of course, like I love seeing your face when I like FaceTiming you as opposed to like phone calling, but like turn it, like you can come to the meeting of the self-study program, turn off your camera, leave the sound on, send us a chat that you don't feel like communicating today. Like all of there are no rules. There are no rules. There is no firm commitment to get it right. This is like a create your own rules as we go, and like we're here for you, which I think that's why people have such a hard time committing to it, is because it's like, that can't be true. This is a trick, right? Like that's not real. It's like, no, this is like how we are choosing to foster a community, and it is very possible, and it is happening in front of you, and you're ready. So you might as well go ahead and sign up, and just like, maybe you'll hate it, but like probably not.
April right there. Yeah. And also, like, here's the other deal. Even if you hate it and you're in the whole process, you were like, I hate Kate and Ruby, that is for you to explore with us for the next 9 months. And then you get out of the program and you're like, here's why I hate people like that. And here's all my experience that teaches me that I need different kinds of people in my life than them.
And that's
something
great.
Because let me tell you, the real honest truth is that a big part of my self-study program has been learning how to practice discernment in the people that I want in my life. So if part of the program literally becomes those kinds of people are not my kind of people, that is new information that gives you access to finding your kind of people. Not that I think that you'll hate us. I hope you don't. But like, also if you do, that's okay.
So fine.
So fine. So fine.
You are ready now.
You're ready now. If you like us now. I'm kidding.
Oh, wow.
Are ready now, and it starts next week, and we're excited, and we want you to join the self-study program. Mm-hmm. And also, again, I want to reiterate the like, if you are having like money stuff, if it's money stuff, please, for the love of God, fill out the application and we can have a conversation about this. Like, I think the last one we did about where we talked about the money like that was on my page.
Mm-hmm.
And like a really, like, I think I made a really important point in that last one. And it was that like we have value outside of money, actual cash monies. And there's a way in which we can work with that. And so we love it when people are like, hey, like, they'll reach out, we'll get an email that says like, hey, really want to sign up for this program, really don't have the money to do it, so I'm not going to sign up for the program. And we're like, no, let's just make it a longer thought process than that. Like, let's come at this from a different way. How can we adjust this? Because
Yeah, and that is a new way of thinking, right? That someone would want their product to be accessible to me is just so foreign that I bow out before I even ask any questions. And like, that's something that you and I have done different in our businesses, is like, no, like, accessibility is priority. So like, if you feel clear that you are ready now, that you want to be part of this program, like, apply and then have a conversation with us and we will figure something out. Like, I'm not like, saying that is not like a trick. Saying that is really honest, that like, we want you on board.
And that we also, like, what that is that it's like trust that you value what it is that you say that you value. So really all it is us just believing you. Like, if you say that you value this work, okay, I believe you. That's all that I believe you. And I believe your capacity to like show up honestly and authentically. And I also believe in that I can do that. So if at any time we feel taken advantage of or something like that, that's our responsibility then in that time to be like, hey, listen, you said that you valued this. Here's what has happened. Here's how we feel unvalued. Like, let's adjust. And then we all just continue adjusting together. It is not a one-sided situation. It's just not.
Because it's a relationship. It's like,
hard. Relationships can be hard. Like, actively having conversations with people, it can be challenging, but it's the fucking world. It's life.
Yeah, and it's like, yes, this is like a service, like, you know, like, this course that we're offering is technically like a service. It's like an experience for you. It has value. We live in a world where money expresses value. But like, that transaction is not the way that like we do business.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so like, relationship over transaction all the time at every corner. And yeah, like, that means that it might be messier. It will probably be messier, or like feel like less cut and dry, because it's a relationship and not a transaction. You know, it's like, of course. I think about how that makes me think about like how many times in the world and in life we try to like circumnavigate the mess of a relationship through just like money. We're just like, here, I'll just like give you some money for it. And it's like, or we could like be in relationship and navigate this and like get somewhere deeper and richer together, instead of just like making this thing like a transaction.
Mm-hmm. And you know, like, I think about stuff like, who was I having a call the other day about something? I was having to make a phone call to some business. I needed something from some business. And so like, it's like, then you get to the phone call and they're like, did you check out our 800 pages worth of help that we've already like cultivated and made available to you? And I'm like, yes, I actually have perused the website. I haven't found the help that I need. And so I thought maybe the people to call would be the help center of this business to get me like to talk to somebody. I need to talk to somebody. And like, I believe in the power of that. So like, one thing that like for the gym, for instance, is this like, could we put in 100 systems to make it so that you never have to talk to somebody? Yes. Do I believe that that automation is the answer to business? No. I believe that relationship is the answer to business. So like what I hope for Get Fit 615 is that if somebody has a problem, tell me. This cannot be fixed unless I know that it is happening. So that is why communication is important. Like we have to be able to do that. And then I get to work with it with you. And that is like to me the ultimate goal of business, to be in real relationship with the people who are adding it to their lives. Who like it's not just like random. It's like I want to know you and I want you to know me too, and I want to cultivate like respect for each other.
Yeah, and I think that especially coming like next Wednesday being a year since the beginning of lockdown, now is like the perfect opportunity to like start coming back into a relationship, because it makes a lot of sense that things have become more like automated and transactional, you know, like you're ordering your food online, we're like doing things online, whatever, like shortest distance between 2 points is shopping online, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
But the self-study program is like such a great opportunity to like ease yourself in a containered space to ease back into like, okay, no, like relationship is important. I believe it to be important. I'm making the choice to engage in relationship, because I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been out in the world a couple times and I'm like, I don't know how to talk to people. I don't I don't maybe like care about people as much as like in reality as I wish I used to, or like I wish I did. And it's like, oh, I kind of need to like retrain myself. And like that's part of the self-study program too, is like, okay, so like I value relationship, so I don't want to just like live without people, but like I also value deep and engaged relationships. So here's a space where I can practice that, so that then I'm like refining the skills and tools to like be back out with everyone, and also like getting really clear in who I am and my capacity to share myself with people within I just keep using, you know, we've used the word container a lot, so that then later when I engage with people who maybe aren't in this work, I can feel really clear about who I am and how I do relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, I think like something that I love about both of our businesses, Ruby, is like a lot of times we see these businesses who are like, we're a family here at Procter and Gamble, and it's like, what? No, you're not. And that is fucking toxic for the culture of this place to be familial, because a bunch of people work here. So it's like, so one thing that I think is important about the self-study program is like, yes, do we hope you come in and make like a lifelong friend? Of course, I hope that. And these relationships can be specific to this work. And
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I'm just thinking like what we're not doing is pulling you into a cult. We're not gonna try to like make you our family.
yeah, ooh, that stuff is like, oh my God. Yeah, we are not trying to do that. We don't want to become cult leaders, which should be refreshing because I think I know people who want to be cult leaders.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, that's just what that made me think of. Anyway, what we're trying to
Join
say
the
is
it's not a cult.
self-study program starts in 1 week.
Oh my
We
God.
would love to have you. If you're still listening, if you are listening, you are ready now. You are ready now. You just need to go to the link in my bio, go to the link in Kate's bio, sign up. I think that's all I have to say about that.
I echo that. Yes. Yep. Well, damn, that's what I was expecting.
Cool. I love you, Kate.
I love you too, Ruby.
Tomorrow we're gonna be talking from the gym's page.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So everybody follow Get Fit 615. And we'll see you there tomorrow. And
yeah,
in the days to come, we're not gonna stop talking about it.
No. No, we are not going to stop talking about it. Don't even think that we're going to be doing that.
Thank you for being here and for listening.
And something that we're really excited about is that we're talking about how to figure out heartfelt. So
yeah, if you have come to a heartfelt and you're like, wow, I miss heartfelt, or you're like, I've never been to a heartfelt, but they keep talking about it and I'm really excited about it. Are they ever going to bring it back? Probably.
we're figuring it out.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, love you.
Love you too.
Love
Bye.
y'all. Bye.